You walk into a room, and within seconds, someone has already judged you. They know whether you're confident or insecure, whether you're powerful or easy to ignore. And the disturbing truth is, you can do the exact same thing. In less than 10 seconds, you can read a person's confidence, intentions, honesty, and even their hidden weakness, without them saying a single word. This is not magic. This is the cold social intelligence that rulers, strategists, and manipulators have used for centuries, and few understood it better than Machiavelli. Because Machiavelli didn't study what people say. He studied what they reveal unintentionally. He watched posture, silence, reactions, and emotional leaks. He knew that humans cannot hide who they are. They can only delay revealing it, and 10 seconds is more than enough. Imagine Machiavelli entering a crowded hall in Florence, nobles speaking loudly, merchants negotiating, guards standing still, advisors whispering, no introductions, no conversation. Yet within moments, he already understands the power structure of the room. He sees who commands attention without asking for it. He sees who talks too much to hide insecurity. He sees who watches silently, calculating. He sees who laughs too loudly, desperate for approval. And before a single word is spoken to him, he already knows who is dangerous and who is harmless. Because people reveal themselves instantly, not through words, but through behavior. The first thing intelligent observers read is stillness. Most people cannot stay still. Their hands move, their eyes dart, their posture shifts. This constant movement is not random. It's nervous energy. It reveals discomfort and insecurity. The calmer the person, the more dangerous they often are. Because calmness means control, and control signals confidence. Machiavelli understood that the person who speaks slowly and moves less often holds more psychological weight than the one constantly reacting. Then comes eye behavior. People who look around too much are searching for validation. They want to know how they are being perceived. But those who observe, quietly without seeking attention, are often assessing everyone else. This difference is subtle but powerful. One seeks approval, the other seeks information, and the one gathering information always holds the advantage. Machiavelli once described leaders who never rushed their reactions. When insulted, they didn't explode. When praised, they didn't overreact. Their emotional restraint made them unpredictable. And unpredictability creates authority, because people cannot manipulate someone whose reactions they cannot predict. In 10 seconds, you can also read status behavior. Watch how someone enters a space. Do they adjust themselves nervously? Do they try too hard to appear confident? Or do they move naturally, as if they belong everywhere? Those who feel the need to prove their presence often feel internally uncertain. Those who assume presence without forcing it project quiet dominance. Another signal appears in listening behavior. When someone speaks, does the other person interrupt quickly? That often reveals insecurity and the need to control perception. But the one who listens fully before responding signals patience and control. Machiavelli favored silence as a weapon. Silence forces others to reveal more. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in discomfort, truth leaks. Machiavelli once observed two advisors competing for influence. One spoke constantly, presenting arguments and trying to impress. The other spoke rarely. He listened, he nodded. He asked short questions. Within minutes, everyone began turning toward the silent advisor for approval. Why? Because silence creates perceived intelligence. People assume the quiet observer knows more than he reveals, and perception becomes reality. In 10 seconds, you can also read emotional leakage. Micro-expressions appear before people control them. A flash of irritation, a quick smirk, a moment of fear. These tiny signals appear when someone hears something unexpected. Most people miss them, but once you start watching, you realize emotions cannot be hidden completely. They only flicker, briefly, and disappear. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He knew that when someone hears bad news, their true reaction appears for a split second before they mask it. That first reaction is always honest. Everything after that is performance. Another powerful signal is reaction to silence. Stay quiet after someone speaks. Do they rush to fill the gap? Or do they stay comfortable in silence? Those uncomfortable with silence often fear judgment. They reveal more trying to protect themselves. But those comfortable with silence hold psychological power. They force others to talk more. And the more someone talks, the more they reveal. This is why Machiavelli preferred observation over conversation. Because people reveal themselves fastest when they think nothing is being analyzed. In 10 seconds, you can also read hierarchy awareness. Watch who people look at when they speak. Some constantly glance toward a dominant figure in the room. This reveals submission. Others speak without seeking approval. This reveals independence. Machiavelli valued those who did not constantly check for permission. Because independence signals strength, there is also the speed of reaction. Quick reactions often come from emotional thinking. Slow reactions come from calculated thinking. The person who pauses before responding is often evaluating consequences. That hesitation is not weakness, it is control. And control creates influence. Machiavelli himself was known for measured responses. Even when pressured, he would delay his answer. This forced others to wonder what he was thinking. And uncertainty creates psychological tension. That tension increases perceived intelligence. Another clue appears in how someone handles attention. When multiple people look at them, do they shrink slightly? Or do they remain composed? Comfort under attention signals internal stability. Discomfort reveals insecurity, and insecurity is easy to manipulate. Machiavelli often identified weak leaders by this single trait. When attention increased, their posture tightened. Their voice changed. Their gestures became exaggerated. These signals revealed fear of judgment, and fear of judgment makes a leader vulnerable. Even handshake behavior reveals personality. Some grip too hard, trying to dominate. Others too weak, avoiding presence. But the balanced handshake, calm and steady, signals controlled confidence. Machiavelli believed forced dominance always exposes insecurity. Within 10 seconds, patterns begin to emerge. Calm versus reactive. Observing versus seeking approval. Silent versus over-explaining. Controlled versus emotional. Each signal adds to a psychological profile. The genius of this method is speed. You don't need long conversations. Humans reveal themselves instantly, because behavior is automatic, and automatic behavior is honest. Machiavelli knew that those who understand people quickly gain social advantage. They know who to trust, who to avoid, who to influence, and who to ignore. But the most powerful part is this. Once you can read people in 10 seconds, you also become harder to read. Because awareness changes behavior. You become more controlled, more silent, more observant. And suddenly, others cannot figure you out. And when people cannot read you, they assume depth. They assume intelligence. They assume power. This is why Machiavelli's observers were often feared. Not because they spoke loudly, but because they understood silently. But the real mastery of reading people in 10 seconds begins when you stop looking at what people show and start noticing what they try to hide. Because humans don't consciously reveal their true nature. They leak it through contradiction, and contradiction appears instantly. Someone walks into a room trying to appear confident. Their shoulders are back, their chin slightly raised, their steps slow. But their eyes move too quickly. Their fingers adjust their sleeve repeatedly. Their smile appears too early and disappears too fast. Confidence is being performed, not lived. And Machiavelli understood that performed confidence collapses under pressure, while natural confidence remains calm. This is why intelligent observers don't trust posture alone. They look for harmony. When posture, eye movement, voice tone, and stillness align, confidence is real. But when one element breaks, insecurity appears. And insecurity is always visible in the first seconds. Machiavelli once described a diplomat who entered negotiations with exaggerated calmness. He spoke slowly, smiled politely, and leaned back in his chair. But when the opposing side mentioned risk, his fingers tightened slightly on the armrest. A micro-reaction, almost invisible. Yet Machiavelli knew immediately the man feared loss. And once you know what someone fears, you control the conversation. This is the deeper layer of 10-second reading. You are not just identifying personality, you are identifying leverage. Watch how someone reacts to dominance. When a strong personality enters, weaker individuals adjust. They shift posture, they become quieter, they seek acknowledgement. But confident individuals remain unchanged. Their behavior stays consistent, and consistency under pressure reveals inner stability. Machiavelli valued consistency more than charm, because charm can be performed. Consistency cannot. Another signal appears in how quickly someone tries to connect. People who rush to agree often seek acceptance. They nod quickly, smile too much, and mirror behavior aggressively. This is not empathy. It is insecurity disguised as friendliness. Machiavelli considered such people predictable, and predictable people are easy to influence. In contrast, the person who observes first, speaks later, and disagrees calmly, signals independence. They don't need approval. And those who don't need approval are harder to manipulate. In 10 seconds, you can also read ambition. Ambitious people scan the room differently. Their eyes move strategically. They observe who others respect. They position themselves closer to influence. They listen more when powerful individuals speak. This silent positioning reveals intention. Machiavelli often identified future power players not by what they said, but by where they stood. Those who naturally gravitated toward influence eventually gained it, because ambition directs behavior subconsciously. Another subtle clue is emotional patience. When someone hears something provocative, do they react immediately, or do they absorb it first? Emotional patience signals discipline. Impatience signals vulnerability, and vulnerability is always exploited in power dynamics. Machiavelli warned rulers about emotional people, not because emotion is weakness, but because visible emotion is predictable. And predictability invites manipulation. The 10-second observer also watches group dynamics. Who interrupts whom? Who gets interrupted? Who finishes sentences confidently? Who hesitates? These micro-interactions reveal hierarchy instantly, and hierarchy reveals influence. Machiavelli could enter a conversation mid-discussion and understand power positions. Immediately, the one others listen to without interruption holds influence. The one who speaks but gets ignored lacks authority. The one who waits, and then everyone turns, holds silent power. This is why silence is so revealing. Silence draws attention, and those comfortable with it command it. Another powerful indicator is reaction to humor. When someone laughs too loudly, they often seek inclusion. When someone smiles slightly but remains composed, they maintain distance. Machiavelli preferred distance, because distance creates mystique, and mystique creates respect. He believed that those who reveal too much too quickly lose psychological advantage, because familiarity reduces perceived authority. The less predictable you are, the more carefully people treat you. 10 seconds is also enough to read defensiveness. Mention a neutral statement. Watch reactions. Defensive people react instantly. Their posture tightens. Their tone sharpens. Their eyes narrow. Calm people remain unchanged. This difference reveals inner stability. Machiavelli once tested allies by making ambiguous remarks. Those who reacted emotionally exposed insecurity. Those who remained calm demonstrated control. And control always wins long-term power. Another subtle behavior appears in how someone handles space. Do they move too close, too far? Balanced distance signals social intelligence. Too close signals dominance, attempt, or insecurity. Too far signals discomfort. Machiavelli read space awareness as a sign of emotional balance. Even walking speed reveals personality. Fast, erratic movement signals anxiety. Extremely slow, exaggerated movement signals forced dominance. Natural, steady movement signals internal control. The body always reveals mental state. Machiavelli trusted body behavior more than words. Because words are chosen, behavior is automatic. The deeper you go, the clearer it becomes. Humans are transparent in the first seconds. They reveal confidence, fear, ambition, insecurity, dominance, submission, and emotional control instantly. Most people just don't look carefully enough. But once you train your observation, rooms change, conversations change. People become predictable, and social dynamics become visible. Machiavelli believed that power begins with perception. If you understand people quickly, you avoid traps. You identify threats. You recognize allies. And you position yourself strategically. This is why the most intelligent individuals speak less when meeting someone new. They collect information first, because the first seconds are the most honest. Later, people adjust. They perform, they hide, but the beginning is always real. And when you master reading that beginning, you stop being surprised by people. You stop trusting appearances. You stop falling for charm. And you begin to see intention behind behavior. This is the moment social intelligence transforms into strategic intelligence. And once you begin to see intention, you stop reacting emotionally to people and start navigating them strategically. Because the greatest advantage of reading people in 10 seconds is not judgment, it's preparation. When you know someone is insecure, you avoid challenging them directly. When you know someone seeks approval, you don't give it too quickly. When you recognize quiet confidence, you treat them carefully. When you sense hidden ambition, you watch them closely. Machiavelli understood that power is rarely about force. It is about positioning, and positioning begins with understanding who stands in front of you before they even speak. Imagine two individuals meeting the same person. One listens to the words. The other reads posture, eyes, tone, and silence. The first trusts what is said. The second understands what is meant. Over time, the second person avoids manipulation, anticipates behavior, and controls outcomes. This is the invisible advantage. Machiavelli once observed that most people judge based on appearance, but only a few judge based on behavior. And those few always dominate social dynamics, because they are never surprised. They are never deceived for long. They see contradictions early, and they act accordingly. 10 seconds is enough to see whether someone wants something from you. Watch eagerness. Watch how quickly they agree. Watch how fast they try to build connection. Genuine people are calm. Strategic people move faster. This doesn't make them evil, but it reveals intention. And once intention is visible, you hold the upper hand. Another truth Machiavelli recognized is that people reveal their relationship with power immediately. Some people naturally defer, others naturally challenge, others observe quietly. These patterns appear instantly and rarely change. The one who defers will seek protection. The one who challenges will seek control. The one who observes will seek advantage. Reading this quickly allows you to adapt. You don't confront the challenger directly. You don't rely on the deferential. You respect the observer. This silent calibration is what intelligent people do automatically. But there is an even deeper layer. When you start reading people in 10 seconds, you also start controlling what others read about you. You slow your reactions. You reduce unnecessary gestures. You become comfortable with silence. You speak with intention. You stop revealing emotional impulses. And suddenly, you become difficult to read. This is the final stage of Machiavellian social intelligence. Not just reading others, but becoming unreadable. Because the person who reads everyone and reveals nothing holds quiet authority. People begin to project depth onto you. They assume intelligence. They assume calculation. They become careful around you, and without saying anything, your presence changes the dynamic. Machiavelli knew that mystery increases influence. When people cannot predict you, they respect you. When they cannot understand you, they observe you. And when they observe you, you control the pace. The irony is that this power is invisible. No loud words, no dominance displays, just observation, patience, and controlled behavior. 10 seconds. That is all it takes to see confidence. Insecurity, ambition, fear, dominance, submission, and emotional discipline. Most people miss it because they focus on conversation. But conversation hides truth. Behavior reveals it. Machiavelli never trusted the surface. He trusted reactions. He trusted silence. He trusted contradictions. And those who adopt this mindset begin to see people differently, not as unpredictable, but as readable patterns. And once you see patterns, you stop being manipulated by personalities. You stop being impressed by charm. You stop being intimidated by loudness. You see the insecurity behind aggression, the ambition behind friendliness, the calculation behind calmness. This is the moment you move from emotional socializing to strategic interaction. You stop asking, "Do I like this person?" and start asking, "What does this person reveal?" You stop reacting and start observing. You stop trusting and start understanding. And slowly, people become transparent. That is the true meaning of reading someone in 10 seconds. It is not about judging them instantly. It is about noticing the signals they cannot hide. The signals that appear before words. The signals that expose the real personality. Machiavelli believed that those who understand human nature early rarely lose control later, because they already know who they are dealing with. So the next time you meet someone, don't rush to speak. Don't rush to impress. Don't rush to trust. Just watch. Watch how they move. Watch how they react. Watch how they handle silence. Watch how they seek attention or avoid it. Within seconds, the truth will appear. And when you learn to see it, you will realize something powerful. People don't hide who they are. They reveal it immediately. Only the observant notice. If you start observing instead of reacting, you'll notice something most people never see. Confidence speaks quietly. Insecurity speaks loudly. Power doesn't rush. It watches. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Those who read people early control the game later. So the next time you meet someone, don't try to impress them. Don't rush to trust them. Just watch for 10 seconds. Because in those 10 seconds, they will show you everything. And once you learn to see it, you will never look at people the same way again. If this changed how you see human behavior, subscribe for more dark psychology and Machiavellian strategy. Because the more you understand people, the less they can control you.